if we're going to use AI to build our future, AI need to help us to build a community. And that's the only way for it to become sustainable and flourishing. So I keep saying that, sound like a broken record. That's my core belief. Another one is AI gives us power, superpower. But the power is really giving the power back to the people. And we are coming up to 4th of July. The nation is founded on we the people. We the people, the United States of America. They didn't say we the big tech, we the government. We the people need to have the power to do what's to come in the new economy. Everybody knows the new economy is upon us.
Passionate about people and purpose-driven work, Steve Dong is the co-founder, president, and CEO of CybrCastle, where he's at the forefront of helping mid-market organizations become AI-ready safely, securely, and responsibly. With an impressive track record of leading 9 for-profit and 2 non-for-profit organizations, Steve's superpowers include change management, executive governance, strategic development, and championing game-changing and world-changing innovations. Many business leaders have reached out to me about how to confidently navigate AI and stay ahead of the curve in this fast-paced landscape. That's why, in addition to this podcast, I'm building a trusted partner network dedicated to responsible, secure, and human-centered AI consulting and development that delivers meaningful results. CybrCastle is part of my trusted partner network, and I'm excited to have Steve on the show to discuss how we help clients accelerate with AI and mitigate the risks to achieve their business goals. Today, you'll hear about responsible AI development with a focus on community and people-centered approaches. Steve shares insights on how small and mid-sized businesses can leverage AI to compete with larger tech companies. He also shares strategies for AI adoption, risk mitigation, and change management for business leaders. The conversation covers AI readiness assessments, use cases across various industries, and the development of secure AI solutions for middle market businesses. Steve discusses ROI considerations, emphasizing the importance of thoughtful implementation and cultural alignment. Throughout the discussion, Steve emphasizes that AI should enhance human capabilities rather than replace them, and highlights the needs for values alignment in AI projects. We also explore Cincinnati's growing role as a responsible AI hub and the importance of community building in shaping the future of AI to amplify the best of human potential. How can AI give power back to the people? Listen in to find out. Enjoy.
But have you ever thought, what if this is all just a dream?
Welcome to Creativity Squared. Discover how creatives are collaborating with artificial intelligence in your inbox, on YouTube, and on your preferred podcast platform. Hi, I'm Helen Todd, your host, and I'm so excited to have you join the weekly conversations I'm having with amazing pioneers in the space. The intention of these conversations is to ignite our collective imagination at the intersection of AI and creativity to envision a world where artists thrive.
Just a dream.
Steve, welcome to Creativity Squared. It's so good to have you on the show.
Yeah, likewise. It's such a privilege.
Well, Steve and I met through Cincy AI, the meetup I co-host here in Cincinnati with Kendra Ramirez. And from that, we've actually started working together through a strategic partnership as I'm building out a trusted partner network for AI consulting and development. So I'm so excited to have Steve on the show to talk about all things responsible AI, what's happening in Cincinnati, and also how business leaders should be thinking about AI and being AI ready. But for those who are meeting you for the first time, Steve, can you do an introduction and tell us a bit about your origin story?
Yeah, thank you. I'm from China originally. About 30 some odd years ago, I migrated to the US. But first in Los Angeles, I went to UCLA with the MBA degree and came to work for a company in Cincinnati, Procter & Gamble. in downtown Cincinnati. I thought it was more a short-term assignment. I'm still here, not necessarily with P&G, but started many entrepreneurial ventures both locally and in the Silicon Valley and also globally in China. But I locate in Cincinnati. I met my wife some 30 some odd years ago, and we called this home, and we love this community. And I think that's one of the reasons why we want to build a vibrant AI centric community for human, for our community in Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's something really special that we have here. We see it through our Cincy AI meetups that get 150 people a month at UC's Digital Futures Building. We just had Cincy AI Week through community partners, and there's just a lot of momentum and excitement. And one thing that I'm really proud of is that everyone's really embracing responsible AI. And I was curious how you see responsible AI, especially in the community and through the work that you do at CybrCastle.
Right, and that's actually our mission, is to build a community with the proper AI technology responsibly. And for that, we first focus on governance. And then we look at people, how people interact with the governance. And then we bring in the AI technology, which we have a very strong AI technology lab. We call it Secure AI Lab, building technology pretty much all over the world. But that is more just to help human beings like us to be better equipped for whatever is to come. Our goal is to build a community, build our ecosystem, and help this ecosystem to flourish and thrive. Cincinnati have a uniqueness, in my opinion. Instead of very big tech centric, it's actually people centric. And I think that environment cultivates the AI we want to build for the community versus other kind of AI based on bigger tech, bigger organization. We focus on our community.
One thing that you shared with me in our conversations when I was in Texas, Steve and I had many conversations while I was in hour-long traffic going to and from different places, that you had really mentioned that this is such a unique opportunity and moment in time for small businesses and mid-market sized businesses to kind of leapfrog the bigger tech companies. And I really appreciated your perspective. And I was wondering if you could share that with our listeners and viewers today. What you think and why you think that way.
Right. So in most of the breakthrough innovations in the human history, in my opinion, typically the larger nation states, the larger big tech, the larger companies will have an upper hand. They get access to resources and capital and technology, and need to build on some infrastructure. Otherwise, it's not available for the SMBs. However, AI is a decentralized type of infrastructure, and anybody can adopt AI. And that actually levels the play field from the technological and process standpoint. And that's really exciting. But what's actually even more exciting is it's not depending on any particular infrastructure. We can download a ChatGPT today. We can use it right away after 2 minutes of download. And there's no limit on how you use ChatGPT. And I think that's the power of being able to leverage a technology platform. It's already very, very, I would say, proven to be generative, and then be able to pivot on that and helping us to utilize it right away. Any small business, medium-sized business can use that right away without have to be building their own infrastructure. So that levels the play field for productivity, for efficiency, and also for strategic growth as well.
Well, and I know one thing that we also talk a lot about, especially with the clients that we're partnering with to do AI consulting and your AI readiness assessment, is mitigating the risks. And that's really important to you too, because as we all know, there's been stories coming out about how these chatbots and LLMs have hallucinated and been liabilities for brands, whether that's Air Canada or some of the other ones. So how do you think about mitigating risks when it comes to these chatbots?
Yeah, so we use the framework called governance first, and then really looking at people. So the chatbot risk is actually a lot of them are built into the chatbot by the people creating those chatbots. The algorithms is to please human being, and most of the chatbots are people pleasers. And because they are trying to please us, they want to generate things actually may or may not be true. We found that be able to support the small, medium-sized business, we need to build chatbot with the small, medium-sized community builder and business builder persona. So we actually train our chatbots not being people pleasers. So if we can do that, that would reduce the hallucination. Secondly, is to use human in the loop. We never want to depend on anything critical only from the chatbot. Always double check, putting the human there. And that's really how human can actually in the loop to enhance the experience of AI adoption, because AI is created for human. Human is not created for AI. So we need to focus on the human-centric community of human using AI as a creative agent, a creative support, but never can really replace us, the human in the loop experience, to make sure whatever we produce is actually truthful, it's factual, but we can do it much faster with our AI assistant on our side, so to speak.
And we'll definitely get more into different use cases and that. But one thing that I really love that you embrace too is change management. Because on the people front, it's not just about the technology, it's just as much about the people. So I was wondering if you could share kind of your change management history and how you think about change management specifically for business leaders in this moment in time too.
So my career brought me through starting 9 different technology-centric businesses worldwide. And I also started 2 nonprofits. So I'm more of like a global entrepreneur type. One of the things we learn is change is in the air all the time. Only way for us to advance, to be strategically competitive, to really have the blue ocean type of effect is to change, not for change's sake, but change strategically to adopt whatever is to come in the future, but bring it into the ecosystem right now. Not to focus on where the puck is right now, but focus on where the puck is going to be 2 years, 5 years from now. So change is really what most business leaders are equipped to do. Using AI as a twin turbo charge to change is really what we pivot on. AI is a tool, is a technology, but using AI to change can actually create probably the highest ROI we can see. And that's why we use AI. AI is human. So in the last 14 years, I have been 20 different business boards or directors or advisors, mainly directors. And in the last 3 years on different board roles, I found myself being asked, how do you really mitigate strategic change all the time? And then I said, well, what about using AI as a pivot? And they looked at me and said, okay, what's AI? So as I'm explaining to them what AI does, a lot of this business board said, well, let's see how we can investigate. Maybe we can put our toes into something like AI. And before long, they are start adopting AI very responsibly, adopting that for productivity, for workflow automations, for predictive analytics. in addition to the chatbots. So now we get a lot of different segues to use AI to do what human beings are already doing, the redundant work, the repetitive work. Instead, using human to do that, let AI to do that for us so we can do more creative work, more cooler work, more really enhancing our creativity and our ability to be human, let AI to be AI. So those changes require a mindset from the top of the organization. So we typically work with either the board of directors or the CEO and his core leadership team, because most likely, like any other significant change in the human history, the leaders must lead. The leaders must have the vision. The leader must be innovating in their mind, and the leader must be backstopping the change. And those are the type of things we feel that is having a vision for the future, what your enterprise looks like, how you can innovate, maybe using AI. You may not use AI to innovate, but AI might be a good pivot. But most importantly, be able to backstop the change. And so in most of the board roles I have in the last 3-4 years, AI just shows up in all the board meetings. I say, you know what? Why don't we create an organization can actually help people to do better in strategic planning, change management, using AI as a pivot? And that's how CybrCastle adopted that. And now we are growing, obviously, significantly. And that's why we are partnering too with Creativity Square too, to be able to even expand that influence, not just locally, but globally.
I love that. And I know Kendra Ramirez, who also works with CybrCastle and is my Cincy AI co-host, she said on stage, I think at the UC Research and Innovation Week, that part of change management too is from once the leaders have the vision that you mentioned, to bring the team along the journey as well, and that training and implementing the vision where everyone knows what's happening really mitigates people's fears and stuff. So I was wondering if you could share how you, once the leader has the vision, what are the next steps to bring the team along with the vision too?
This is such an interesting thing. A lot of the leaders ask us, so what kind of tech do you build? What kind of cool things what kind of chatbot? I said, just hold on a second. It's not about the tech itself. It's about how to engage the frontline workers, the middle management, the senior team, the governance team. They said, what does that to do with AI? I said, that's everything, because AI empowers to do more, better, faster. So the key thing is us, not AI. They said, oh, so you're talking about actually helping human to do better. I said, yeah. So really, to training the human, to educate them, to help them to move along in the journey as a journeyman, so to speak, that's really exciting. I said, yeah, that's it. Well, how can you train us? Well, so what we do many times, the first way to assess people's AI readiness for the small, medium, and large organization alike, but mainly the middle market is what we're focusing on, is to provide AI readiness training, education, and some we call it prompt engineering training. I know that sounds really complicated. It's not. It's just basic training on using AI responsibly. So recently, actually about last week, we have a national nonprofit invited us in to train their leadership nationally, including Canada, via similar platform as what we're using right now. And we actually do even a survey during the training. And it's very exciting to see, wow, these leaders can express their hope, their dreams through this type of using AI responsibly. But they also express their fears and doubts and disbelief at the same time. So we collect that data, and we are building even more training curriculums to help each of the different groups in a different geography, different organizational uniqueness. We actually can tailor to each of those groups and train them based on our survey results. So now we can actually get back to them and say, hey, these are some of the curriculums you can deploy to train your senior leaders, to train your stakeholders, but we can also train your middle management team, your core team, and then you can train all the frontline workers that using AI responsibly. And they were so excited. So we're actually in the process of doing that. And they are a larger organization, but we found, wow, what an incredible impact we are making just in a few very short training and helping them to move things forward.
Yeah, and that's one thing why I'm so excited to partner with you, is that it really is people first in all aspects of it. And one thing that I like about the AI readiness assessment too is that I get people reaching out to me all the time, like, I know we need to embrace AI, but I don't even know where to get started. And that AI readiness assessment does that. So I was wondering if you could tell us like what that entails, and then just more generally for anyone listening, how they should be thinking about getting AI ready to outside of the assessment that we do for our clients.
So if you're talking about more the individual, like as a human being, everybody's AI ready. Just go ahead and download ChatGPT or any of these chatbots, you are ready. And typically you can get a free version, there's no cost to it, right? And then if you want to look at organization AI readiness, I would recommend a few things. One is your data ready, right? Is your cybersecurity and privacy persona ready? Are your people really ready to adopt something and not to be fearful because of all the negative publicity to it, right? But the most importantly is whether your leadership, your change management process is ready. AI amplifies everything we do, no question about that. But what do we want to amplify? So that readiness assessment would actually guide us to know where to amplify. Think of the AI readiness assessment is like doing a annual physical when you go to a doctor's office. If you want to run a marathon or climb the Mount Everest, you probably want to do a physical first before you say, hey, do I need to do this first or that? And so a lot of what we do is to pivot on all those elements and then provide a recommendation so people will know, okay, I may not be ready to run a marathon yet, but I can do my 5K going these 3 steps. And then after a 5K, we'll do another assessment. Say, you know what, now I can go half a marathon. And now I can even go full marathon. Or maybe I can climb the Mount Everest, maybe, right? So those are the type of things. It's to shoot very high, but also do something right now so you can move the productivity, efficiency forward for your organization, but not losing your team. And that's the most important thing. Do everything to keep your team engaged, keep them thriving, and help them to be productive and happier, but at the same time moving your organization's strategic objective forward. And I think that's what we used to pivot. We actually started using AI, deploying AI right away for certain customers. But that typically didn't work that well at the beginning because we see the people resist to it. They don't know what this is. So you can build a very cool AI system, but if people are not using it, not knowing how to use it, it's really kind of the ROI, return on investment, is very low. So what we did is actually change that. Let's just put a little bit of investment in it, but mainly in the people, in the process side. Instead of try to overly focus on technology. And then once we get the people and the process more ready, then the the technology can be deployed. We have the highest, coolest tech. Our team is actually all over the place, in Cincinnati, in Australia, in Mumbai, India. The technology team is very strong. But we don't go with the technology team first. We go with people and process development first. So I think that's really what we came up with. I think a unique offering, at least for this point, is to really helping people to be ready before they adopt AI. And that's what the readiness assessment is like.
It's the new digital transformation that we're going through right now. And even with the app boom, so many companies were like, oh, apps are the new thing. Let's spend a ton of money on them, mobile apps for the App Store or whatever. And then they never got used and, money was wasted. So I think this approach really is more thoughtful for if you're going to integrate AI and you're going to invest in it, that you want to make it useful and that your team or your customers want to use it and adopt it in that way. And you mentioned a couple use cases, because I know chatbots are kind of the easy, low-hanging fruit, but AI, I think it's almost like a double-edged sword. It can do any and everything, and we hear that, but we want to find the ones if you're going to invest in it, that make the most meaningful impact and get you on ROI. So can you kind of discuss some different use cases that you've done with your clients and how you kind of help your clients determine the use cases moving forward too?
Yes, so lots of different use cases. So after the assessment, then we typically hone into the highest ROI or the easiest to implement use cases, either or, okay? And the easy to implement use cases, I would say, is marketing and sales, because I think every organization want to really increase their marketing and then increase their sales, and AI is the really, really good for that, right? The other one we actually currently working with a customer on is the HR use case, onboarding new employees, performance evaluation. Instead of using a lot of different ad hoc spreadsheets and payrolls and all that, we actually integrate everything into an AI chatbot. So the HR professionals, all they have to do is talk to the chatbot about what they need to do with a particular employee. And the chatbot will reply, said, oh, they need to fill out this form. They need to check this insurance box. They actually need to figure out this. Or the manager need to provide an annual review summary. And then we need to make sure their family vacation already is on our dashboard, right? So all that you can integrate. And then what we found actually is interesting is that people tend to not engaging with the HR department before. Now with this cool tool, they can engage the HR department privately and securely without actually being know that that was the one they're engaging. So it's very cool to see we have higher engagement on the culture development, training, and performance review, all scheduled out for you without actually even thinking about you have to open up 14 spreadsheets. By the way, that's the actual number. 14 spreadsheets consolidated to 0 spreadsheets, complete automated by this particular chatbot. We also use another use case on predictive maintenance on machines. So we have a customer just on board. They found that they have so many different manufacturing machines and different pieces of equipment. They really want to see how to provide a predictive maintenance schedule. So instead of letting the machine break down and then fix it, and that not only is costly, but also holds up the production. So using AI to predict when the machine needs to be optimally maintained before they break down, it's a huge benefit for them. So that's what we are doing right now, using, we call the machine learning, using computer vision, but then pivoting on some of the predictive analytics type approach. And then what we do is that they don't need to worry about when the machine needs to be, because basically the system would tell them XYZ machine need to be maintained within the next 2 months. And their machine, the breakdown rate dropped significantly just because of that. Another example is fleet management. Some of the customers might have a fleet of 100, 1,000 different trucks and things like that. And we actually can use AI to track them on every single thing and helping the fleet to be connecting with another one automatically and really helping logistics and supply chain issues. So those are some of the use cases for manufacturing, logistics, supply chain, and also business consultation. One last one I want to bring up is the design, architecture design. So there's a firm that we are working with. They are an architecture firm, and they have architecture drawings and blueprints from last 40 years. And to find a particular blueprint and drawing from 20 years ago is almost an anomaly. You can't really find it that easily. It's somewhere, but you can't find it. So we use an AI system to actually automate those retrieval of data from their drawings, even from 20 years ago, and be able to digitize it and make it available for the architects to draw new designs without completely go to the drawing board again. They actually can pivot on something they did 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's one. I know I've said this on the show before. That's one thing I'm excited about with AI is just everyone being able to play with and work with their full body of work from their lifetime, whether that's individuals or companies, because we have such like a recency memory of like what we thought of most recently or read or books and stuff. But to be able to access that whole corpus of work, I think is really, really exciting. And your product is around secure AI. And you had mentioned, training it not to be a people pleaser. But, I know a lot of companies, it's like, well, do we host on the cloud? Do we do it ourselves? And you have Jeremy Wood on the team with this deep AI expertise. So can you kind of expand on secure AI and also like you have protected IP that you don't want it on the public AIs? Like there's a lot of concerns about the hallucinations, the cybersecurity, protecting your IP, all of these things. And your secure AI product really addresses these. And I know a lot of people have these concerns, even, probably hearing this interview, it's like, oh, this sounds great, but like, how is it actually secure? So I was wondering if you could kind of expand on that. And even whether it's people are considering working with CybrCastle or any AI consultant, like how do you know who to work with to where you are getting and can trust that the AI development is secure? I think that's like, it reminds me of the early days of social media marketing where on Twitter, every bio was like, I'm a social media expert now. I'm a social media expert. And in the past year, since ChatGPT launched, like everyone's an AI expert these days. And can be like overwhelming, like figuring out who's legit and who's not. And what does secure AI mean? And how does that actually, what does that actually look like? So I know that was kind of a big question, but I'll let you take the baton and run with it.
Yeah, this is really our domain, Helen. We are a cybersecurity, cyber privacy company first. So we focus on protecting organizations against any cyber attacks and privacy breaches. That's kind of where our company was founded, CybrCastle. About 2 years ago, we realized AI is coming on the scene, and they said, well, let's really pivot on that. So we invited my long-term friend, 20-some-odd-year friend, Jeremy Wood, to be our chief AI officer. Jeremy stopped doing programming when he was 8 years old. Okay, so he was building all kinds of systems, both for himself, for the government, for nonprofits, for for-profits, you name it. And we felt that together we can build something cool for the middle market. So how does that look like really for in layman terms? Everybody knows AI is powerful. Everybody want to get AI to do the redundant work or the repetitive work. everybody realized that our privacy and security somehow is being somewhat infringed, I would say, by without saying a whole lot about by the big technology companies, right? So all that kind of culminate into this product called Secure AI. And the Secure AI, just to say, let's give the power back to people, give the privacy belong to the people, give the security back to the people. So we really tailor design this product called Secure AI. When I say a product, it's just a AI implemented into a small, medium-sized business. We call them a product. So we handle privacy, security for the people, to the people, with the people, helping people to thrive. And that's essentially how we kind of bolt together what we call our brand is Secure AI. Well, if I can look at Jeremy and his team as global team now, wow, really looking at how we can do this efficiently, we realize we need to make it for the middle market, need to be not too expensive. So we really need to keep the cost very affordable for the middle market. But at the same time, we want to make sure it's secure, private. So we ended up actually pre-training a lot of the models. We call the AI model. We pre-train them. It's almost like training a executive assistant, a HR specialist, a marketing specialist, or a logistics specialist, a sales development specialist, almost like that. We're training them in our CybrCastle secure cloud ecosystem. And then once a customer say, hey, we need someone to help our logistics or machine maintenance, we just pull that pre-trained AI system and then we customize it for our customers. And that way, it's relatively inexpensive because we already pre-trained them and we can implement them quite fast into the system. When I say fast, probably 3 to 6 months, you actually can engage a true AI system. You mentioned about cloud hosting. We host everything either on-prem, which means on the customer side, if they met the higher security and privacy type of standard. But if some of the customers say, you know what, we already use the cloud, like Amazon or Google or Azure, which is the Microsoft cloud, we can easily build the systems on those cloud. Some of the customers want a little bit more privacy and more security. Well, we actually have our CybrCastle cloud as well. So we can build them inside our cloud for a higher privacy, higher security. The difference would be if you go to a Amazon or AWS, you typically do not own your data. I know most of people don't know that. They own your data. They just tell you they don't use the data to train their bot mainly. Okay, but they can still change that later, right? That's the kind of a nagging reality we are dealing with the big tech. So what we are thinking about is we decentralize the governance, make sure it's no longer the big tech controls. We can even use technology to tokenize it. Means that the only way you can access the data is someone have the key to the tokenization. So it keeps it very safe, very private, only can be deployed through AI, almost like a privacy as a service. You determine whether you want to release that data to one person, to 100 people, or to 1 million people. It's totally up to you. But then you can control that privacy. You can dial it up and down, almost like dial your knobs on your car radio. And that's another feature we are providing is you own your data, you own your privacy, and you have full control who you can share and how and when you want to share. And you can discontinue the sharing and be able to expunge the metadata. I know that's a lot of tech words, but essentially giving the control to the people of their own identity, their own security, their own privacy, their own data. And that to us, it's more than just a AI implementation. It's almost our philosophically, we are firm for building the community private, secure, helping them to thrive. And that's a different approach from some of the big tech companies.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I also think, at the end of the day, and actually Maddie Bell, who is on the show and based here in Cincinnati with her scheduler AI tool, she's like, it's ask questions to the companies that you're working with, whether it's a tool or a firm like CybrCastle, and can they answer your questions? Because it's people, behind the tools and the intentionality behind them and their expertise. And I know one thing that's important to me is to build inclusive tools, because a lot of these models that are off the shelf or that you can download and start using, you're just kind of relying on their own training versus adding the extra guardrails to be more inclusive in the broadest sense of the word. But Jeremy on your team, he has a very specific background. I was wondering if you could share more of that when it comes to privacy and security and his expertise, because I know he builds that into all of the tools for the client projects too.
We bring him in as our chief AI officer because he has a unique background with building large AI systems with the federal government. Okay, and obviously we cannot talk about that, right? That's a highly secure type of situation. So he has high security, high privacy background with the federal government building, let's say, systems that really supporting our national defense, national security level, right? So that's the one background. He also have a background building, he called this a sentiment analysis for actually helping children to be away from their predators online. So this is a really interesting thing. It's a global effort with global teams. So he led a global team to catch criminals, helping local enforcements to catch criminals that become predatory to our children globally. So both the government side and the nonprofit side. So we felt that with that kind of sensitivity of privacy, security, protecting what need to be protected, it's the major foundation for us to build a responsible AI systems for our community. So that's why he's our chief AI officer.
I appreciate that. And I think my last conversation with him, I was like, well, how do you make sure that it's inclusive? Because that's really important. He's like, Helen, I love these questions. We build this into our pre-training too, and we can even expand on that if needed for some of our customers.
Yeah, I guess I didn't quite answer the inclusive question. So the inclusive really is building on your organizational persona. If your organization is an inclusive culture, we use an inclusive pre-trained model to begin with. We would not want to be people-pleasing model. Now, there's some model, like going to explore the world, you may want to people-pleasing because you are having fun touring the world. That might be a good persona to use a people-pleasing model. But when you are really want to be inclusive, you want to getting the culture built, that model need to be pre-trained according to your objective, your strategy, your governance. And all that we can build into the pre-trained model with the secure AI implementation with CybrCastle. And Jeremy is, I would say, one of the best in the industry for that. I know that because he's in our team, I might be bragging, but he is. Yes.
Well, and I know it's come up in the show too, and you all embrace it, is like, don't build and design for the average, because when you do that, you actually exclude people on the edge. And to be inclusive, you really want to take the broadest sense to lift up, the whole organization or your whole team. So that's another thing that I really appreciate as well. When it comes to ROI, I think it was kind of interesting when I had Krista from IBM on the show. she cited a few different studies that some of the initial leaders weren't seeing ROI out the gate from their AI adoption. And I think it's changed a bit today with the implementation of AI thoughtfully. But how do you identify and help business leaders like understand the ROI use case when it comes to implementing or adopting artificial intelligence?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Helen. We would not do anything without first pivoting on high ROI. So one of the reasons why we pivot on even adopting AI, because we have a cybersecurity background, we have a management consulting, executive consulting, board consulting background. We felt that ROI is the key driver to any business. So don't start anything until we know what the ROI is. So AI in the larger company field had been operating for the last 5-6 years. For those really can adopt the change management, I call strategic change management, starting from the stakeholders, the senior leaders of the organization, be able to create a culture of change, helping people be comfortable adopting things, execute their strategy right, and then bring AI in to support those execution of strategy. Those companies which ROIs are actually pretty outstanding or astonishing, I would say. A couple of reports we saw from either Harvard Business School or McKinsey and Company, and a couple other groups, IBM even. The people can adopt those approaches, starting from the top, champion the strategy, adopt the readiness assessment type of tools, and then be able to really pivot on what can generate ROI. The anecdotal data is about 13x to 20x, 13 to 18x in 3 years on all the investments. Now that's outstanding, 13x in 3 years. Our internal anecdotal data also supports that too. Again, this is a new field, so we don't have a lot of, I think, empirical data yet because it's just so new. Now, on the flip side, we saw organizations are really not using that approach. They don't do much assessment. They jump on the shiny object or particular AI tool. They implement it because they want to beat the crowd. And that does not connect with either their strategy, their tactic. They just want to buy a tool, being cool, and tell people they can do AI. Those organizations, I would say, by and large, will suffer because any technology, it's not about the technology, it's what the technology can enhance human being to do their work more efficiently and more effectively. So I think that's the divergence. So our goal is to helping business leaders to converge, right? Using the cool tools, but before you do that, let's see what are the best tools. We now, even on the open system, there are 20 some odd thousand tools available right now, and no one needs 20 some odd thousand tools. And then what we do is like, okay, we will evaluate the open system, but we also have a custom system. But that's secondary. Business leaders, what are you really pivoting on to grow? How do you want to be 5 years from now? How does that stay competitive either in your blue ocean strategy or other strategies? If you can pivot on those and then find the right AI implementation, find the right partners like us or someone else, we can really hone into a strategic driven change management framework first before we delve into a particular tool from one or another. So I think that's the area we're seeing the highest ROI. And people will be happier too because they obviously thinking that this AI doesn't replace them. It's actually enhancing. So this is based on a phrase I learned from Harvard Business School about a year ago, last August. There's an article came out said AI do not replace human. Human with AI will replace those without AI. And I think that's the core of it, because you can build the best AI system and still fail because people don't use it and they are afraid to engage it. If people feel that AI will take over their job, how likely they will use that AI system? So a lot of what we do is helping human beings to say, no, this is not replacing me. This is merely just to enhance what I do. And I probably want to learn a few things so I be more competitive in my next pay raise and next career move, right? That way people say, wow, if I learn these few things, I can be a better worker, better salesperson, better professional, better teacher. That's really what the heart of the secure AI implementation.
And another thing I really appreciate about you and the whole team is values alignment. And you also not only look at return on investment, you look at return on purpose. And I was wondering if you could share with our listeners and viewers what that means to you and working with values aligned partners and clients like myself.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I give you actually a real life example. There was a business sales call. We were engaged in a middle market customer. We're talking to a particular CEO, and then everything goes great. They really are growing fast. They want to use AI to create, they call a core delivery backbone. I said, this is awesome, fits our persona. Then the next thing, it becomes interesting. They start diverging. He said, well, we have so many people on the HR department. Our goal is to use the AI to replace all of them. That's what the CEO told us. My colleague and I look at each other and we pause for about 3 seconds. I said, okay, Mr. CEO, we will not be your best partner. Our goal is not to replace your HR department. So what do you mean? Right? This is great because we can. I said, no, what we found is we can help your HR department to streamline the processes, to optimize the processes, so they can actually do more HR work, not clerical work. He said, what do you mean? Well, how much time your HR department are focused on payrolls and benefits and answering questions are very basic. We can create a system to answer those questions. But our goal is that your HR department can actually now doing real HR work like organizational development, recruiting, be able to provide culture development. Well, I'm not interested in that. And that was the end of the sales call. Because we believe that the true value of what we do is the helping the HR department to do more what HR is supposed to do, helping the HR professionals to engage their employees, their associates, to create inclusive programs so they can benefit long-term and short-term, instead of just reducing the cost. So the return on purpose, I call, is community building, ecosystem building, human thriving, human flourishing. I think those are really the things, not only just for the workplace, really it's for the society in general. So we felt that actually AI can support that at work. We are doing our part to support the society moving towards human flourishing.
I fully support this and never advocate to use AI to replace humans. So that's definitely one thing I appreciate and encourage all teams and leaders to consider is using AI as a superpower and not a replacement by any means.
I do want to pivot one more point on this. AI also causes human to elevate. For human to be more happier, more productive, more innovative, more creative, Using AI, I think, is one of the best ways. So it actually helps us to learn more, develop more, getting trained more to do more of what humans should do. So it's not a zero sum thing. It's really enhance their capability and be able to give them time to learn new things for the new economy is upon us. So it's really both. It's not just not replacing human. It's actually helping human to flourish, to learn, to be creative, to be better.
Well, and I know I've said this many times, but I'm a big believer that the future is community and collaborative. And I get so excited when I think about what's happening here in Cincinnati and the AI ecosystem that's really just blossoming, and how everyone is learning together and collaborating, whether you see that in our meetup, and businesses coming together. And since the AI week, the mayor, I just did a press conference with the mayor for another conference this fall, Midwest Con. So yeah, I appreciate the community focus, the ecosystem focus, and the collaborative focus. And I think that's another place where, these smaller companies and mid-market firms that cater to mid-market firms like yourself can differentiate each other, because it's more in the community focused. But I didn't know if you wanted to expand on that or had any additional thoughts on community ecosystems and collaboration.
That's the heart of AI, in my opinion, is to build communities and ecosystems. In fact, you and Kendra and one of our colleagues, Sabrina, the three of you guys are really knocking out of the park on every month on the Cincy AI for Human meetup, right? That's just awesome. So if someone wants to learn more about this, just join the community. But you got to register too, because they fill up every month. So make sure. Because I didn't register, I couldn't go one time. So make sure you register, right? Because that's only so much space. It's free, but please register. And then I think about 2 weeks ago, there's a Cincy AI week. My goodness, it was attended by 1,100 people with 60 different organizations from some 20 different states in Cincinnati. So Cincinnati is a hub right now. The community is getting stronger by the days. And again, thanks to you, Helen and Kendra and Sabrina and all these great people. I don't want to mention everybody's names, but I am just in awe to see, wow, this is a true community effort. And that's really exciting to see. If we're going to use AI to build our future, AI need to help us to build a community. And that's the only way for it to become sustainable and flourishing. So I keep saying that, sound like a broken record. That's my core belief. Another one is AI gives us power, superpower. But the power is really giving the power back to the people. And we are coming up to 4th of July. The nation is founded on we the people. We the people, the United States of America. They didn't say we the big tech, we the government. We the people need to have the power to do what's to come in the new economy. Everybody knows the new economy is upon us. Okay, how can we pivot on AI to really involve in the new economy? The new economy doesn't even have to be just commerce. Can be nonprofit, can be in the artistic community like what you are championing, can be in education, supply chain. All the aspects. So it's a community effort. It's not just an industry effort or technology effort. That's what's exciting about what's happening in Cincinnati. And again, thanks for you guys for doing all this.
And for our audio only listeners, as Steve has been saying all this stuff about the community focus, which is near and dear to my heart, I've got a big smile on my face and nodding in agreement the whole time. So very proud to partner with CybrCastle and for the community that we're building here in Cincinnati and beyond. Well, Steve, I know we could keep going and going, but we do try to keep these interviews to an hour. And one question that I ask all of my guests is, if you want our listeners and viewers to remember one thing, what is that one thing you want them to walk away with?
Embrace the future now. AI is not a fad. It's not just going to be going away. It's here. It's upon us. Embrace it. Work with it. Learn from it. Do something. Download an app, whatever app you want to download, and just be mindful of security and privacy. Join the community. Go to the Cincy AI meetup or any other event. There are many events. Subscribe to Helen's newsletter, Kendra's newsletter. Seriously, because there's so many good nuggets and so many things that you guys can really be part of. Those are probably the foremost. The other thing is if you are a business leader like myself and really learn how to use this to superpower your business, then I would say really maybe even get with Helen, get with Kendra to be seeing what are the ecosystem they are part of. We are not an indoor solution for everyone. Okay, we focus on our niche. There are other groups that also focus on their niche. We work together. So we felt that just take one step to talk to someone like us, doesn't even have to be us, to learn about how to engage AI in your organization. And that might be a half an hour call, might be a 45 minutes call, may just benefit you to see how to make a pivot forward for your strategic change. That would be what I would recommend.
Well, I did not pay you to say to sign up for my Creativity Squared newsletter, but I appreciate the plug. And I'll be sure to include all of the links that you mentioned. And, we, in the Cincy AI newsletter, we do a roundup of a bunch of events locally in the Cincinnati and Ohio region. But Kendra's, which I'll be sure to include on her website, is really the most comprehensive list of events in the Cincinnati area region. Or Ohio too. But for those outside of this region, I know I'm becoming kind of like an unofficial cheerleader for all things responsible AI in Cincinnati and the movement happening here. But, just going to Eventbrite and meetup.com and searching, AI, you'll find local events in your community too. And I know we're reaching out and working with people from Minneapolis to Cleveland and Columbus, like what's the magic that we have in Cincinnati and how can they bring it to their cities as well? So if you're not in the area, everyone's kind of like hungry and trying to figure this out all at the same time of how to navigate this brave new world that we're in. So we're all in it together. That's for sure. Steve, is there anything else you want to make sure to include in today's conversation before we sign off?
Yeah, I want to say kudos to you. Kudos to Kendra and all the pioneers for the Cincinnati community and globally. I know you are a global champion for AI, not just for Cincinnati. You just came back from Europe. I would say that really just plug in, learn, grow, and not be afraid to ask any questions. We are all learning about this together, maybe at a different level, but we all need to learn. So we will be ready for the new economy is coming upon us. So thank you so much for inviting me to your show.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. And one purpose for the show is to, I don't want anyone with their head buried in the sand and then, when it comes out, get hit by this AI Mack truck and not be prepared for what's to come. So, the show, Cincy AI, and we embrace the mantra, a rising tide lifts all ships too. So hopefully if anyone's listening and maybe a little bit more on the AI nervous side, this will empower you to start, getting to know the tools a little bit better. And if you have any questions, definitely reach out. Steve, it has been such a pleasure having you on the show. I'm so excited to know you and partner with you and get to see all the amazing work that you do up close in person. And thank you for all of your time today on Creativity Squared.
Thank you so much, Helen.
Thank you for spending some time with us today. We're just getting started and would love your support. Subscribe to Creativity Squared on your preferred podcast platform and leave a review. It really helps. And I'd love to hear your feedback. What topics are you thinking about and want to dive into more? I invite you to visit creativitysquared.com to let me know. And while you're there, be sure to sign up for our free weekly newsletter so you can easily stay on top of all the latest news at the intersection of AI and creativity. Because it's so important to support artists, 10% of all revenue Creativity Squared generates will go to ArtsWave, a nationally recognized nonprofit that supports over 100 arts organizations. Become a premium newsletter subscriber or leave a tip on the website to support this project and ArtsWave. And premium newsletter subscribers will receive NFTs of episode cover art and more extras to say thank you for helping bring my dream to life. And a big, big thank you to everyone who's offered their time, energy, and encouragement and support so far. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. This show is produced and made possible by the team at Play Audio Agency. Until next week, keep creating.